Welcome to Legal 123s with ByrdAdatto. Legal issues simplified through real client stories and real-world experiences. Creating simplicity in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Legal 123s with ByrdAdatto. I'm your host, ByrdAdatto, with my co-host, Michael Byrd.
As business attorneys for healthcare practices, we meet a lot of interesting people and learn their amazing stories. Brad, this season's theme is asking for a friend. We will tackle questions that practices are sometimes afraid to ask.
And audience, this is a safe place. Everyone knows it's not you asking the question, but only if you say the magic protective words that you're asking for a friend. Mm-hmm. And Michael, I'm really super excited to bring on our guest for today's show. She's so kind. She's coming in studio today with us. And for those watching us in TV land, unlike Michael and I, who barely have faces for radio, she definitely has a face for TV. So we're excited to have her on for that piece. But before she drops some knowledge bombs on us, Michael, I have something I really think is a very important topic we should discuss.
No, Brad, we're not going to talk about you again.
Well, that's an important topic, but we'll skip that one today.
Okay.
Michael, today's guest travels almost as much as we do, probably maybe more than us combined. She's a well-known public speaker. She attends a lot of medical conferences and trade shows all across the country, which got me to thinking about flying on planes. We just talked about that a second ago, right? And where you sit, it matters. And so, Michael, I like to sit in a short flight. I like to sit maybe, at a window seat so I can tell you which direction we are when we're taking off and landing.
Oh, yes, audience. And I cannot overstate how much Brad will become narrator to me. And if you remember the episode where we talked about the Gen Z stare,
yeah,
that's my facial expression when Brad's trying to tell me all these interesting tidbits.
It's very important. However, anything over 2.5 hour flight, it's aisle seat all the way for me. I like my leg room a little bit, but more importantly, bathroom access. I'm not a savage by any means.
Yes, and that causes a little bit of conflict because I also am an aisle seat person, and you obviously coordinate our flight, so you always get the aisle seat, and I get stuck in the middle. But even more importantly, you're a prima donna, and you want to have the window shade open during takeoff and landing, and so then I'm your sidekick that has to raise it and lower it. And so I've been thinking a lot about having them book us both on the aisles across from each other.
Oh.
But I don't know who's going to do the work.
I'll have to boss someone else around.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, it is a sacred moment for me to tell you which direction we are going. So that's why the window shade has to be open, obviously. But as you can imagine, with any flying seat, right? Location, the right seat for the right price.
Okay, well, I've never seen you be price sensitive, but okay, I'll go with it.
Which brings us to today's legal oddity. 2 airlines, United and Delta, are being sued for selling quote-unquote window seats that don't have windows.
How does that even happen?
I don't know. It sounds like a classic bait and switch. People paid extra for a view and got a blank wall instead. I mean, if you paid for a window seat and you end up staring at a beige plastic, I would feel like that's emotional damage to me.
I can't even picture a window seat without a window.
Oh, I can.
Okay. All right.
Now, the lawsuit claims that this is deceptive business practices. Apparently, other airlines do mark the seats that have windows, so transparency, pun intended, is possible. But just maybe the lawsuit will help settle the answer. Is a window seat still a window seat if it's just a wall?
I'm glad that you brought a little of your dad joke humor in. Okay. Well, let's get started. I think that you've burned up all our time. We need to get our guests on. Sure. So joining us today is Audrey Neff. She is the CMO of Aviva Aesthetics. We've known her for about 10 years from other medical and CRM software platforms. She's, as you mentioned, a global speaker. Mm-hmm. She's a host to the True to Form podcast. And I don't know how this happened. I blame you. She's a first-time guest on our podcast. And
first-time guest into your office.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Also blame Brad for that. Audrey, welcome to our office and to the podcast.
Thank you, Brad and Michael. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. And going back to the plane situation, I have had a window seat that was not a window.
Oh.
I've had that multiple times.
So
I'm an aisle seat.
There you go. That was my first major question I was going to hit you, aisle versus window. So you don't have to look out the window?
I just don't. And I also, the shades, just so you know, if the window shades are up when you are flying, the sun is like 400 times stronger.
Oh.
So when we think about aging and our skin, sunscreen, always put the shade down.
Explains so much about Brad right now.
Maybe that does smell a lot about me. I'm the kid with the face against the window while flying. No?
Okay.
No.
Sun
Okay.
damage, sun chill right
Bad
now.
idea. Okay. All right, let's get started. Talk a little bit to the audience about you and your background.
Totally. So as you guys said, we've known each other for around a decade, which is when I came into this industry as a young spring chicken, age 22. Broke into this industry unintentionally, immediately fell in love with it. So I will never, ever leave this industry. It's just what I am so passionate about is helping med spa owners and aesthetic practice owners and wellness practices now just, build thriving and sustainable businesses. So I've been, I guess my career has been a couple of different things. So early on, we all know I initially was with Crystal Clear. We eventually sold to private equity, merged with Patient Now. I was with Patient Now for about 5 years and then recently transitioned into the CMO role at Aviva Aesthetics, which I'm super excited about. We're building something really, really amazing and unique in this industry. But beyond that, I also invest a lot of my time, energy, and effort, as you guys know, into speaking and training and lecturing and educating. And that's really what fuels my fire at the end of the day is giving back and helping practices and people.
Yeah, and you're an amazing speaker, so I've always enjoyed listening to you speak. And I'm not the only one, because I know when I go see you speak, the room's full. When Michael and I go speak, the room's empty. So I think you're doing something right. But that's and going back to your story, we've obviously known you for a long time and seen your growth, and it's been really cool to watch. But as you just said, you're at a new, you changed jobs. You're at a new place. Tell us about it. What you do there.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this new business.
I love it, and I'm very excited about what we're building at Aviva. So Aviva Aesthetics, we are an MSO, which we all in the room love MSOs, right?
For audience members who don't know, that means Management Service Organization. Yes. But on this podcast, we've talked about MSOs a ton.
People should know what MSOs are at this point. But what we do is we kind of flip the script on the traditional approach to private equity consolidation. So if you think about it today, in the current state of aesthetics, this is how I view it. There's really three routes that you can go as a med spa owner, let's call it. One, because since we are in this consolidation phase, we all know it's been happening for a couple of years and it will continue.
Yeah.
And that happens in any industry that's growing as fast as aesthetics. Practices are kind of at a crossroads. So one, if they've built a sustainable business that is sellable, they can either sell their practice to traditional private equity, which we know how that model works. You typically sell, let's call it 70% of your business, roll over 30% equity. From an EBITDA multiple standpoint, if we're talking averages, let's say 5x average EBITDA multiple. And that's great if you're in a stage of life where you want to get a check today.
Yeah.
But then what does happen after that is you are a minority owner. The upside goes to the private equity investors when there is another transaction in 3 to 5 years, so you don't keep that multiple expansion upside. The second route is you can continue operating your business today, right? Not do anything and eventually sell your practice. And then there's option 3, which did not exist in this industry until Aviva became a platform. And it's a very complex business model, but I'll explain it in the most simple terms possible.
Yeah, please, because Michael's trying to pay attention.
Yes.
So we are an MSO. So when you join Aviva, basically you forego an early sale to private equity and instead you become owners of the Aviva platform as a whole. However, everyone's practice still operates in their own silo and everything is done through tracking shares that tracks your practice's EBITDA. So when you join Aviva, you're joining what would be an enterprise type of platform where you're going to unlock all of those benefits, such as exceptional purchasing power on consumables, injectables. We'll be rolling out tons of different MSO services over time. And then the big thing, the biggest benefit I would say is when we do bring on an investor partner in 3 to 5 years, because you have not technically sold your practice, you unlock what's called expansion multiple or multiple expansion. And so when we talk about multiple expansion, if we look at the average EBITDA multiple of selling a med spa today at 5x, if you're a part of a larger platform that is doing collectively $30 million plus in profit, you have that multiple expansion, meaning that EBITDA multiple is going to jump to 10x to 15x. It is kind of the range. So that's how much more money you will get for your business.
Michael, I'm not good at math. Is 10x or 15x better?
15's better than 10.
Okay.
And both are better than 5.
Oh.
So following the bouncing ball.
Exactly. So if you want to be conservative, let's say 12x. Let's just give a range in there at 12x. So the whole model with Aviva is instead of the private equity investors getting that multiple expansion upside when they do, because we're all going for the same thing, mid-market private equity liquidity event.
Right.
Instead of the upside staying with private equity investors, that upside stays with med spa owners. And they're the ones that create all the value at the end of the day anyways. So we wanted there to be an alternative route to selling your practice to traditional private equity. And so that's where Aviva was born from, is we wanted that upside to stay with med spa owners and empower them. So we basically prepare them for a future exit at a much higher multiple. And during that time, we do everything we possibly can to help them maximize and optimize their profitability and their EBITDA.
Are y'all also trying to semi-integrate them, or at least get them all aligned with certain services and platforms?
Yes. So that's a great question. Obviously, when you have a group, and right now we're at, let's call it, because we have a couple under LOI, let's just say we're at 10 practices, give or take, with the few that we have under LOI. Obviously, consolidation, when we are going to that, is going to help organize everything as a whole. However, with Aviva, something that we actually truly believe in is true 100% clinical and business autonomy. So they own all decision-making in their practice. They keep their cash flow. They keep their profits during this time. They manage their team the way that they want to manage their team. If they want to fire someone, if they want to hire someone, that's on them. We just give them the support and the resources and the cost savings and this collaborative community of like-minded med spa owners to bounce ideas off of, help with trainings and things like that. From an EMR standpoint, we'll probably consolidate to around 3 different ones that they can use, but we are building out a data warehouse right now that will be pulling all the data from all the EMRs into one platform. So we are consolidating data, but we don't want to necessarily tell someone what they can and cannot do. So it'll be more so they can choose. However, these are probably the 3 that we would recommend using. But
amazing.
If they want to use something else, they can.
And I hate to say it, Michael, but that was the question I was going to ask. So it's a really good question. But because I think what you nailed for our audience members who are not following the reason why you asked the question is it's so important for them to start integrating certain things so that from a platform perspective, they start kind of looking and acting the same.
Yes.
And that's key to if you're going to a market down the road and selling to a mid-market private equity group.
Yeah. And we want to empower everyone to do bigger and build better. And so the people that we partner with, the practices we partner with, we're very selective. We could be at a much higher number of locations now if we wanted to, but we are very particular in the practices and the people that we're bringing on, because culture is something we just think culture is everything at the end of the day. And we want to partner with people that fit the Aviva culture. And also, we're really fun people. Our board of directors is majority med spa owners as well, which does not exist with other private equity platforms. Wow. Majority med spa owners. So any big decision, they have to approve, right? They have to, if we're bringing on another practice, they have to prove that practice is coming into the Aviva platform. So we're very selective. We are truly owned, governed, and led by med spa owners and not private equity investors, which is what makes us so different. Which means,
Michael, our little med spa startup that I was going to have her, buy, I don't think she's going to do that because they like cultural fits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just not going to work.
No.
All right. I was going to talk about something offline, but I guess you answered my question.
Okay, so you heard us talking about asking for a friend.
Yes.
Safe place. So we're going to pick your CMO brain for our question or series of questions for today. So we kind of did it like, dear Brad and Michael, asking for a friend. I am a business owner, but I don't really understand marketing and how it fits into my business. And I've been too embarrassed to ask these questions. So I'm asking for a friend. Here's the first one. What does marketing even mean, and how is that different than sales?
Yeah.
They're not the same?
No, Michael. No, Brad, I just called you Michael.
That's okay. I would have called him Michael, too.
Yeah.
That was a really big compliment, by the way.
Cameron, cut that. That's not
No,
a good
leave it.
compliment.
It doesn't matter. We're all friends here. Great question. And the cool thing about sales and marketing is you need both, right? So I wouldn't say one is more important than the other. You need both in order to build a thriving and sustainable and profitable practice that down the road is eventually sellable. So if the way I would articulate this, and because I like putting things in very simple terms, is marketing is what a practice needs to do in order to drive interest in their practice, right? Exposure, demand generation, ultimately at the end of the day, lead generation and acquisition, which comes with sales. So marketing is everything that you're doing kind of on the pre-patient side of things. So we talk about, Google reviews, we talk about SEO, we talk about paid search, we talk about social media, Instagram, all that good stuff. Everything, referrals, word of mouth. I mean, that's also a big component of marketing. Sure. Everything to drive new patient or potential new patient inquiries into your practice. And then comes the sales part. And that's where a lot of the money is lost, right? Is because now you have to convert the inquiries that you are paying money to generate into your practice into actual paying patients, and then from there would be retention and loyalty. So there's almost it's a series of different conversions that have to happen. So marketing is everything that you're doing on the pre-patient side, and then sales is, I guess sales could be a part of everything though, but if I'm making this in simple terms, is when you actually convert that patient, you have that consultation, they buy into the treatment plan, membership program, comprehensive approach, and unique protocols that you bring to the table, whatever it is, they say yes.
Yeah.
They're going to move forward, right? Now, even though a lot of us get uncomfortable with saying, oh, we sold, or, we're selling, right? It's educating.
Yeah.
It's educating, and you'd be doing every single patient or prospective patient who comes through your door a huge disservice if you didn't effectively educate them on why you are the best provider in the entire world, and you can yield the best possible clinical outcomes for them and give them the best experience at the end of the day, because that's what people in this industry are really paying for as well. And I think this is something that differs from other medical industries, is aesthetics and cash pay medicine is such an experience-driven industry.
Yeah.
Patients will spend more money with providers if they trust they will get a better experience from that
well,
injector.
So you talked about marketing, you talked about sales, then you talked about retention. So where does retention fall in that bucket then? Is it its own unique area?
I would say it's a combination of both, honestly. I think marketing is a part of retention, because once you acquire patients, you have an active patient database. You still want to market to those people, right?
Yeah.
It's just a different tactic and a different strategy. So from a retention standpoint, and that is selling at the end of the day too, right? So whether it's a membership program, a loyalty program, you're introducing new devices, treatment protocols, you're expanding into wellness, whatever it is, all of these things that you can now offer your existing patients to drive revenue per appointment, revenue per hour, patient lifetime value, better clinical results. If someone has better clinical results, they're going to be happier.
Yeah.
If they're happier, it's a trickle-down effect, right? If someone's happier, you're going to have better before and after photos with proper patient consent. If you use those on social media and your website, I mean, people love looking at before and after photos in this industry. You couldn't pay me to go to an injector or a medical provider if I did not look at photos.
Yeah.
Because it's just how we operate as humans. We want to see people. We want to connect with people. And I can relate to people that I have seen that have had similar, or perhaps, they had similar skin concerns as me, and they went through a treatment protocol with this provider. So from the retention standpoint, if someone's getting better clinical results, I mean, it's a trickle-down effect. More referrals to your practice, better reviews. They're happier. They'll spend more. I mean, everything drops to your bottom line.
Yeah. Well, people you mentioned, so the opposite of people is something called AI. And we're hearing that Google Ads and other, for a long time, people were kind of pushing Google Ads, other pay per click, advertisement experience. With AI kind of coming in so hard right now with these search engines, is that still a viable strategy for individual practices? I
think it can be. It just, you shouldn't just jump on it because you think you need to do it. It needs to be driven by a more strategic notion. So I think Google AdWords and PPC can still be effective for the right practice and the right market, depending also how much you want to spend, because it can get very expensive if you're in Miami or Dallas. That's going to be much more expensive than trying to do paid ads in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or somewhere else. So I think it's still effective, but you just need to be mindful that I recommend partnering with an agency that's really, really good at doing AdWords versus trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
And then, and it always comes back to tracking too, because a lot of practices, if they're trying to do things themselves, well, what tracking mechanisms do you have in place, right? Are you tracking, do you have a specific landing page that were built out where someone fills out a form and it comes through into your CRM? You know exactly what Google ad it was from. So tracking's a big thing. Obviously, if you're going to spend a lot of money on Google ads, you make sure that you have your phone and talk tracks tightened up. If people are calling your practice, what are you going to say? Right. Or else you're just putting money in a trash can and lighting it on fire.
Yeah.
So
meaning that if you're spending all this money when the sale leads start coming through the front door, how are you now landing the plane kind of situation?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Yeah. And you're spending all that money. So you need to make sure that before you even think about spending money on marketing, that's what you need to have tightened up first,
on the
right?
Sales side.
Your phone, talk tracks, commonly asked questions. If someone's coming in for their first consultation, how do you greet them? Do you escort them to the room? Like all these things that people sometimes don't think about that just take a little bit of extra time actually have a really, really big impact on whether you convert that patient or not.
Yeah.
For that prospect.
I've had a couple of clients over the years that they're calling us when they're in financial distress.
Yeah.
And they have, and I don't know if this is real or, emotional, but they're like, we do Google ads and we're kind of almost addicted to it, dependent on it. Like we can't quit, or then all the business that we're getting in will go away.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because that's another great point, is you cannot rely solely on Google ads and pay per click.
Yeah.
It is meant to be supplemental, right? It is not something that you can drive all your, it's a faucet. You turn it on and off.
Right.
So if funds are low one month, or you didn't have a great revenue generating month last month and you need to cut down, and that's where you threw all your eggs into the basket of paid advertising on Google, and then you have to shut the faucet off for a little bit. Well, guess what happens?
Yeah.
So you need to truly have a multi-channel and omni-channel marketing approach in aesthetics. And that's also what makes you more resilient too. Because what if something happens to social media or Instagram or XYZ, and you had everything in that one basket, and then that basket gets taken away from you? What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's great. Talk about, it kind of dovetails to a question too. Talk about the different channels or strategies that people should be considering in aesthetics.
There's a lot. I would say the most impactful ones as it sits today, obviously there's a time and a place for paid advertising on Google. I would say some of the simpler ones that practices overlook are, one, their Google reviews. And that's not something that's expensive to do. You just need to have the right processes and technology in place in the practice of how do you consistently get positive reviews to your Google business profile. And it's all about trust in this industry. So Google reviews would be one of them. And I guarantee a lot, and this is homework any med spa owner, practice owner can do. Go look at your Google business profile. If you have 350 reviews, you're in a good spot, but don't stop. You want to keep going, because we always want to stay consistent and frequent. If you have 25, you have some work to do. Just because if you put yourself we can all put ourselves in the consumer shoes. If I'm researching somewhere to spend thousands of dollars on a medical treatment in cash pay medicine, am I going to read reviews? Yes. If someone has 20 reviews compared to another practice that I'm comparing with that has 500 reviews, instantly in like a split millisecond, I'm going to trust that other practice more and likely reach out. So Google reviews is one way, and it's a cost-effective thing to do. Before and after photos are another thing, with proper patient consent. Of course, you need to have your consent process.
Great legal takeaway.
That was for you, Brad.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Don't worry. I always preach the importance of consent. But photos, because once again, people want to connect with people. So people are driven to reviews because those are other people sharing their experiences. People are driven to before and after photos because those are real people showcasing their clinical experiences with the provider. So those are two relatively very cost-effective marketing techniques that I think a lot of practices actually don't capitalize on. It's kind of always put on the back burner for some reason. Social media, obviously, Instagram is going to kind of be the bread and butter still of aesthetics and cash pay medicine today. And while it is a free platform and everyone says Instagram is free, I don't think it's free because nobody's time is free, right? You know, if someone's generating revenue in their business, their time is money. So with that said, I always call Instagram and social media to kind of be a blessing and a curse because you have to do it, but it takes a lot of time and it is very stressful sometimes. Should
they have a team in place to kind of help run their social media, including capturing images and making sure?
I think if a practice can bring on someone full time to be their social media manager, coordinator, whatever title you want to give that person, I promise you there's an ROI on that position. Even if not everything is tied to money and actual paying patients, there's a bigger ROI just from a brand standpoint, a trust standpoint, a credibility standpoint. Because going back to how consumers research, if I was in the market for a new injector today, I'm looking at photos, I'm reading reviews, and I'm finding their Instagram. If they don't have an Instagram, in my head, I think that's sketchy. Like it just doesn't build trust with me. You're not active in the community. So it's definitely a time consuming thing. Obviously, if someone's a solo provider and they don't have the capital to bring on additional team members at that time, you're going to have to do it yourself.
Yeah. And if they don't have an Instagram, but they have like a MySpace, is that just as good?
I don't think MySpace still exists, Brad.
Oh, damn.
But I remember those.
That's
good
where I
old
post
days.
Everything. No wonder no one finds me. Okay. Well, that's kind of leading us that you're going the digital marketing kind of route. You were talking a lot about that, and you were talking about people want to engage with people, but we're back to my AI question that I had. Same kind of issue is AI now affecting the digital marketing footprint?
I think it is. And there are ways also because people use AI to search now, right? So there are tactics and strategies that you can do to actually optimize your business in AI search engines, if you will, whether it's Cloud, Chat, GPT, you name it. So that's something I would definitely work with on whoever your marketing agency is. But then also around the concept of AI, and I love AI. I think some people are still kind of coming around to it. But AI, it's not here to replace anybody.
Right.
It's here to help us.
Right.
It is here so we can get things done faster, be more efficient, be more productive with our time. And if we are more productive with our time, we can work on other money-generating things in our business, which once again drops to your bottom line. So AI is an amazing tool. Every practice should be implementing it. There are so many AI apps now with more coming out every month.
Yeah.
And a small learning curve, but you can always go to YouTube and find how to use ChatGPT for dummies, whatever it is, whatever video you want to look at, right? AI is here to help us. It saves you a lot of time, and everyone should 100% be embracing AI and not be afraid of it.
I can't believe Brad has not invited you on our podcast yet.
Bradley.
I mean, it's
Bradford, not Bradley.
So rude. Well, our time flew by. Thank you so much for joining us on the Legal 1-2-3s with ByrdAdatto, and we're grateful for our friendship. And we'll go to break and have a quick wrap up. And thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me, both of you guys.
Many business owners use legal counsel as a last resort rather than as a proactive tool that can further their success. Why? For most, it's the fear of unknown legal costs. ByrdAdatto's Access Plus program makes it possible for you to get the ongoing legal assistance you need for one predictable monthly fee. That gives you unlimited phone and email access to the legal team, so you can receive feedback on legal concerns as they arise. Access Plus, a smarter, simpler way to access legal services. Find out more. Visit ByrdAdatto.com today.
Welcome back to Legal 1-2-3s with ByrdAdatto. I'm your host, ByrdAdatto, with my co-host, Michael Byrd. Now, Michael, for those that don't know, this season our theme is Asking for a Friend. And we just had a great conversation with a friend of ours, which I still blame you for her never being on. But, man, she, first off, gorgeous, and second off, brilliant, and third off, dropped some amazing marketing information on us. But, we need to give our audience members a quick legal takeaway, Michael, because we're almost out of time. What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I just listening to her reminded of is that compliance effects is relevant in marketing as well. It's really easy when you get caught up listening to these marketing strategies, and they're exciting and they're great ways to build your brand and grow your business and feed your sales cycle. But every step of the way, you can't forget the fact that this is a medical practice,
Yeah.
and that you have to have consents, as we talked about, for before and after pictures, and make sure that all that's buttoned up. There's compliance that goes with a lot of the digital side of marketing strategy, then and including how do you reach out. There's new laws in Texas on solicitation, texting, and then all the way into the sales cycle. Again, you're dealing with patients, and you have standard of care, making sure they're a qualified patient for what you're trying to promote and sell, and so you can't treat them as two distinct disciplines.
Yep. Well, unfortunately, audience members, that's all the time we have today. We will be back next Wednesday when we continue asking for a friend, when we bring partner and series regular Jerry Riera on to discuss medical board investigations. Thanks again for joining us today. And remember, if you like this episode, please subscribe, make sure to give us a 5-star rating, and share with your friends.
You can also sign up for the ByrdAdatto newsletter by going to our website at ByrdAdatto.com.
ByrdAdatto is providing this podcast as a public service. This podcast is for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by ByrdAdatto. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. Please consult with an attorney on your legal issues.